great year for worrying about our children. Will they be killed by COVID-19 at school? Will they be killed by COVID-19 at the playground? Or maybe they'll be different and be killed by a bird of prey or something. I don't want to tell you how to parent, but chances are that your worrying game needs work. Because one of the main things killing children this year, as in every year, is something that you probably haven't even thought about. Drowning. In Canada, the #1 killer of children aged 1 to 14 is accidental injuries. That's higher than suicide or any one disease. And among those injuries, the prime killers by far are car crashes and drownings. In the US, drowning is by far the #1 killer for toddlers. The country had 378 drownings of children between 1 and 4 years old in just 2019. That's more than every single US minor who has died of COVID-19 since the pandemic began. And the stats get even worse when you start counting children who weren't killed by drownings, but were left with permanent brain damage. Simply put, if anything is going to stop your toddler from reaching graduation, it's a body of water deeper than 4 inches. So why so many drownings? For one, it's really quick. You can go from healthy child to not breathing in 20 seconds. And it's quiet. Water muffles the sounds of screams or cries for help. People have an image of a drowning person loudly flailing for help, but it's much more subtle. Here is video from a public pool in Finland. All this child has to do is take a few steps towards the deep end and he is suddenly fighting for his life. And nobody around him can tell. What also makes drowning so prevalent is that people just don't see bodies of water as a lethal threat to their children. See this quaint backyard pond? From a purely statistical perspective, letting your kid play around it is about as dangerous as letting them play around a loaded shotgun. You wouldn't bring your kids to visit a friend who kept loaded guns around their backyard, but a pond is fine. Every year, thousands of parents forgo trick-or-treating due to fears of tainted candy. But here's a guess: many of those parents wouldn't think twice about letting their 6-year-old roam freely around a campground with an unfenced pool. What about this bucket? It's a bucket! You use it to mop floors! But in the US alone, bucket drownings have killed nearly 300 young children since 1984. Under your sink right now is an object way more likely to kill your kid than any serial killer lurking outside the soccer field. If an amusement park kills a kid, it can expect national headlines, police investigations, and maybe even an official inquiry. But chances are good that right now, you're within a short walk of a pond, pool, or swimming hole that has claimed a young life without you even knowing. Swimming is great for kids, and the lesson here is not to avoid water at all costs. All it needs is some greater respect. If you went to a pier that looked like this, you wouldn't let your kids let go of your hand. If the beach looked like this, you wouldn't crack a beer and assume the kids will be fine. The more you can keep in mind that open water to a child is about as dangerous as falling into this, the more likely you are to ensure nothing tragic happens.